Welcome back to the Compact YouTube channel. If you are new here, then make sure you like and subscribe. Today, I am going to take you through every single athlete and ask them the same question, because I always find this sort of stuff is really, really interesting. And also it might be helpful for you guys and girls to kind of figure out what's best for you. So the question today is, how long should your off season be? So first person is going to be Helen, because I've just clocked her. Right, Helen, how long do you think your off-season should be in between shows?
So it just depends on the person. Like personally, I've took maximum a year and a bit, but it just depends on how you look in a lineup and whether you have a lot of improvement to do. If you don't have a lot of improvement to do and it is just little tweaks, then fine, you can obviously carry on. But again, you've got to look at health markers. If they're in the right place, fair enough. If they're not, you need more time off.
And out of curiosity, how long was it until you started your first prep? Like, did you have off season before you started?
I didn't. It is wise to, but personally, because this was years ago, there was no information, and I just thought, I think I just went through something and was suddenly like, I'm going to do a show. Yeah. And that was that, and I prepped. It wasn't amazing, but I prepped.
Just got to start. You've got to start somewhere. So if you are, obviously you're going into the Atlas at the end of this year. Where do you think would you take like a liver? Because it's 6 months, isn't it, usually, and then you start your prep again?
Pretty much, yeah. Like maybe it's like 8 months at a maximum, yeah.
Cool.
But that was just, that show was already pre-planned since last year, so it was, because I qualified for it, that was the show I'm doing, and that's how long my off-season's going to be.
So shortest off-season has been in between shows?
About 5 months, probably.
And longest has been?
About a year and a half.
Nice. Thanks, babes.
No problem.
Right, Holly, shortest off-season ever, longest off-season ever?
Oh God, so I've done, I've done 3 seasons. My first season was after about like a 6-month bulk, but it wasn't a real one, you know, when you just gain a lot of fat and eat whatever you want and just call it a bulk. Then I went into probably around 6 months off again after my first season, and then did a prep again, and then I took all 3 years off. So I've literally just come back to stage after 3 years away. So my last show before last weekend was November 2019. So that was pretty significant amount of time, but it wasn't necessarily planned. I planned to take a year off, but not 3.
Did COVID affect that?
No, actually. So I competed in 2019. I planned to take the whole of 2020 off and come back in 2021. But I started a prep around April of 2021, and literally nothing was going to plan. I wasn't dropping weight. My health markers were in a really poor place. I just got a new job, so that was very stressful. I had a lot of personal life stress going on, and it just wasn't the right time. So I pulled the plug on that prep, and then I kind of just reset and re-went again this April. That just went by.
Love it. So you've gone from 6 months to 3 years.
Yeah, don't do things in halves.
Do you think your next, like after you finish this season, do you think your next, like how long do you think you'll do your next off season?
I don't think I'd ever take such a long off season again. I just think it was hard coming back because I felt so rusty. I felt like
First timer.
I felt like a first timer. I felt like new trends had evolved since then. I felt like I felt like I was doing it for a brand new time again. So I could take maybe a year off, ideally. I think I'd like to compete every year, every other year, just to stay in the zone and not feel so freaked out when you have to throw yourself back in again when you've been away for so long.
Yeah, I felt like that. Like, I think I had a 3-year difference off season as well. Like, and I weren't sure whether I'd actually like compete ever again. Yeah. But then I just like threw myself into it. But I think like for me, I like a 1 year on, 1 year off, 1 year on, 1 year off. But 3 years is good. It has its benefits. But I think usually I find that competitors probably do like a 2-3 year off season like once, and then after that they seem to like bounce, or they decide it's not for them anymore. So
well, it depends on the category as well. Like how much muscle do you need to build to be competitive in your category? Also, how long is it going to take to get your health in a better place once you reverse out of your prep? And also, as you said, when you stop competing for 3 whole years, you almost come into this idea of having to come to a decision: have I retired or am I going to go back? Whereas if you only take a year off, it's always at the end of your sight and you know it's coming. Whereas when you're in that kind of limbo of like, am I competing? Am I not anymore? Am I active? Am I not active? You kind of question yourself a bit during that time. So
I feel you. Thanks, babes.
No worries.
There you go.
Hi, guys.
That could work.
Welcome.
TV, like on the weather today is looking. There's a 30% chance it's gonna rain.
I think it's gonna rain.
Right, how long, so let's talk to us about this off-season situation, because me and you are in the same boat right now and trying so hard to not give in. So talk to us. What's been your longest off-season and your shortest off-season?
Right now is my longest off-season.
Well done. I'm proud of you.
I want to go back.
It's a year. It's not been a whole year yet. It's been, I think I've got 3.5 months left.
Yeah.
So.
What's been your shortest?
From the end of October, I started prep again in March. So that's like 6 months. 6
Sort of
months.
thing.
Yeah. Which really, yeah, it's not very long at all, but it felt like just enough because it only takes me really like usually a month or two to bounce back
And you're good to go again.
and like feel healthy. And then after like another couple months, I'm ready to go again. I'm sick of food, let's go. So right now is hard.
Like me and Mel have just been like on WhatsApps constantly with each other about this situation, because we're like, look, we could just jump into like a last minute show at the end of the year. We could do it, and then one of us has to be like, no, remember what we're doing. But like, I do think hopefully by next year, we'll look at each other and go, that was the right
It was
decision.
worth it, yeah. It will be worth it because we'll like, I have the itch for it now, but imagine in like a couple months time.
It'd be good.
Yeah.
But I think for me personally, especially as I have been training for quite a few years, my husband is just like always on my case, just being like, look, Jazz, you're gonna make no progress.
Yeah.
You're gonna make no progress if you only do a 6-month off season these days.
Yeah.
So
I get
that's
the
been
same.
like in the back of my head. So thanks, Joe, for being that rational mind. But
Yeah, we need that.
we need it.
But I wouldn't do it again.
See, I think I will still do, I think I will do the 1 year on. I feel like I found my formula. I found the way that I do it now. But I do think sometimes you have to just like.
Do you know what I think though? Because if we compete like early next year, we'll have kind of a year off without taking a year off if we change when we compete.
That's true. Food for thought. Thanks, babes. So that's a quick wrap up. As you can tell, like, everyone is different with this. It's a question that we get quite a lot of how long your off season needs to be, but as you can hopefully see from myself and Helen and Holly and Mel, it really just depends on where you're at in your journey, and there isn't like a wrong way or a right way to do it. But the biggest thing I can kind of stress is like, don't feel the pressure to jump in and out of like shows every single year if that's not the right thing for you. Like, take the example of like me and Holly. We took 3 years off. Would we do that again? Maybe not, but those 3 years was intended and it was all for the right reasons. So I hope that has been an interesting video for you all. Anything else you want us to kind of like cover in these YouTube videos, then just leave them down below in the comments, and we'll see you guys in the next video.